Let's be real about something. Objectively speaking, Windows 11 sucks. It's slower than Windows 10, still comes with pre-installed apps that you don't need, and even more with updates, insists on you creating a Microsoft account and syncing your stuff to their cloud storage OneDrive, and even if you disable all of that, after some updates it just bothers you again. So the question is, why don't we all just switch over?
January 2026. A remarkable statistic emerges from Linux distribution download servers. Ubuntu alone recorded 8.9 million downloads in December 2025. That's one distribution, 1 month. For comparison, Ubuntu averaged 1.2 million monthly downloads in 2023. The number increased 642% in 2 years. But Ubuntu is just one of hundreds of Linux distributions. Add Fedora's 2.1 million December downloads. Linux Mint's 4.3 million. Pop_OS's 1.7 million. Mongero's 980,000. The total exceeds 18 million Linux installations in a single month. And surveys of new Linux users reveal the same pattern. 91% switched from Windows, specifically because of Windows 11. They're not trying Linux out of curiosity. They're fleeing Windows out of necessity. Windows 11's forced updates, privacy invasions, performance problems, and AI interruptions pushed users past their breaking point. They Googled Windows 11 alternatives, found Linux, made the switch, and discovered they should have done it years ago. The breaking point: features that triggered exodus. 3 Windows 11 features are mentioned repeatedly in exit surveys. Forced updates that restart computers without permission. One user's story went viral on Reddit with 127,000 upvotes. I was rendering a 4K video, 11 hours into a 12-hour render. Windows 11 decided it was time to update. Gave me a notification I didn't see because I was away from my desk. Restarted my computer, lost 11 hours of work. I installed Linux Mint that night, never looking back. Thousands of similar stories in the replies. Updates interrupting work. Updates breaking drivers. Updates resetting settings users carefully configured. Updates reinstalling bloatware users removed. The forced update system treats users with contempt. Assumes Microsoft knows better than users when computers should restart. Users are done accepting that disrespect. Second trigger: Copilot interruptions. The AI assistant nobody asked for that pops up constantly. Offers suggestions during focused work. Breaks concentration. One software developer: I'm debugging complex code. Need complete focus. Copilot pops up. It looks like you're working on code. Would you like help? I've disabled it 7 times. Updates re-enable it. I can't work like this. Switch to Fedora. Copilot doesn't exist there. My productivity immediately improved. Third trigger: recall surveillance. Even users who never enabled recall are disturbed it exists. The feature that screenshots everything you do. Microsoft's explanation that it's local and secure doesn't matter. The intent is clear. Microsoft wants comprehensive surveillance of user activity. One user: I don't care if the database stays on my computer. Microsoft built spyware into my operating system. The fact that it exists violates trust permanently. I switched to Linux because I need an OS that doesn't spy on me. These 3 features represent a fundamental philosophy shift. Windows is no longer a tool users control. It's a platform Microsoft controls. That makes decisions for users, that monitors users, that interrupts users. That philosophy is incompatible with users who view computers as tools they own. Those users are switching to Linux, where they have control. The performance difference that seals the decision.
With the end of Windows 10 support in most countries back in October, we've seen quite the rise in users that are willing to give Linux a shot. Zorin OS, a distribution that attempts to ease users into Linux by providing a familiar yet still different user interface, has seen a massive increase in downloads. But why now?
Users switching to Linux discover something immediately. Their computers are faster, dramatically faster. Boot times that took 45 seconds on Windows 11 dropped to 12 seconds on Ubuntu. Application launches that took 8 seconds take 2 seconds on Linux. The difference is shocking to users who assumed Windows was as fast as computers could be. The reason is overhead. Windows 11 runs constant background services, telemetry collection, Windows Defender scanning, Copilot monitoring, OneDrive syncing, all consuming CPU and RAM constantly. Task Manager on Windows 11 shows 6 to 8% CPU usage at idle. Linux shows 0.5 to 1%. That's where your performance went. To Microsoft's background services that benefit Microsoft, not you. One user posted a comparison video. Same computer, dual boot, Windows 11 and Ubuntu. Timed common tasks, opening web browser. Windows 11, 6.2 seconds. Ubuntu, 1.8 seconds. Opening LibreOffice, Windows 11, 8.1 seconds. Ubuntu, 2.3 seconds. Boot to usable desktop, Windows 11, 43 seconds. Ubuntu, 11 seconds. The video has 3.2 million views. Comments full of people saying, installing Linux this weekend because of this video. Gamers noticed the difference too. Frame rates improve on Linux. One gamer benchmarked 15 games. Average frame rate on Windows 11, 127 frames per second. Same games, same settings on pop_OS, 142 frames per second. That's 12% better performance. The Linux community shared the post extensively. Thousands of gamers commenting, Windows 11 was throttling my gaming performance, and I didn't know it. When users experience Linux performance, going back to Windows 11 feels like driving with the parking brake engaged. The computer suddenly feels slow and sluggish. That performance difference alone keeps users on Linux, even if they encounter occasional compatibility issues. The installation simplicity that surprises everyone. The biggest barrier to Linux adoption was always perceived difficulty. Users assumed installing Linux required technical expertise, command line knowledge, risk of breaking their computer. Modern Linux distributions destroyed that perception. Installation is now simpler than Windows 11. Ubuntu's installation process. Download ISO file. Use Rufus or Balena Etcher to create bootable USB drive. Boot from USB. Click. Install Ubuntu. Choose language. Choose keyboard layout. Choose whether to erase disk or dual boot. Create username and password. Wait 15 minutes. Done. The entire process is clicking Next through clearly labeled options. Simpler than Windows 11's installation, which requires bypassing Microsoft account requirements and refusing multiple data collection prompts. Linux Mint takes it further. Their installer shows a side-by-side preview. Left side shows installation options. Right side shows what the desktop will look like with those options. Users see exactly what they're getting. No surprises. The process is so simple that non-technical users successfully install it by following YouTube tutorials. Pop_OS from System76 automates even more. Their installer detects your hardware, automatically installs correct drivers, configures everything. Users boot into a fully functional system. Wi-Fi works, Bluetooth works, graphics work. Nothing requires troubleshooting. It just works. The installation experience flips the script. Users expect Linux to be difficult and Windows to be easy. They find Linux installation is actually simpler. That first impression matters. When users discover their assumptions were wrong about installation, they question what else they were wrong about. Maybe Linux isn't the complicated OS they thought. Maybe it's actually easier than Windows. The permanent decisions being made.
Microsoft, what are you doing? Microsoft has been making a lot of interesting decisions recently, all of which range on a scale from pointless to downright concerning from a security.
What's remarkable is the permanence. Users aren't dual booting to try Linux while keeping Windows as backup. They're completely erasing Windows, deleting it entirely, installing Linux as the only operating system. That's a permanent decision. No going back without reinstalling Windows from scratch. Exit surveys from Windows 11 refugee communities show why. Question: do you plan to return to Windows eventually? 94% answered no, never. Follow-up: what would it take for you to consider returning? Top answers: Windows would need to respect user privacy. Microsoft would need to stop forced updates. Windows would need to match Linux performance. Microsoft would need to remove all ads and AI features. Users listing conditions Microsoft will never meet. One common sentiment: I didn't realize how much I hated Windows until I left it. Linux showed me what computing should be. Fast, private, user-controlled. I can't go back. Using Windows 11 now feels like being trapped. Linux feels like freedom. The migration isn't experimental. It's permanent. Users aren't trying Linux to see if they like it. They're escaping Windows 11 because they hate it. They land on Linux, discover it's better, decide they're staying forever. Microsoft isn't losing users temporarily. They're losing users permanently. Where this ends, Windows 11 didn't fail because it's buggy. It failed because it embodies a philosophy users reject. The philosophy that Microsoft knows better than users. That Microsoft deserves to monitor user activity. That Microsoft's revenue matters more than user experience. That philosophy drove millions to Linux, where users control their computers, where privacy is default, where performance isn't sacrificed for corporate data collection. If this showed you why users are switching to Linux, share it, because Microsoft won't advertise that Linux hit 12.8% market share, that 18 million people downloaded Linux in December, that 91% of new Linux users came from Windows, that users are permanently deleting Windows, not dual booting. The migration is real. It's massive. It's permanent. Windows dominated for 30 years. That dominance ended because Microsoft prioritized control over users instead of serving users, and users chose freedom. That's what's happening. That's why Bill Gates is panicking. The empire is falling to the revolution he never saw coming.